And we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. I got a repeated guest on here today, my man Delane Isaac of No Reservations, and we are speaking on Australia. All right, a lot of guys are want to inquire about different countries, and most passport bros and travelers go to, of course, the top four. Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, DR, other places, but there's not a lot of information on Australia. Now, when I was in Thailand, I was around a lot of Aussies or Australians and stuff. So I got a lot of good information. Some was good, some was bad. So we got my man Delane on here. He's going to explain to us, give us the real rundown on Australia. All right. So we're going to be right back after this commercial ad.
I'm repping that BMT. No matter where I go, no matter where I be.
Some of them seats in, some of them front kicks in. I'm still cool then, I'm still cool. I ain't busting sweat. That's what it is. Yoga. Passport Bros.
Passport Bros up.
Travelversity in the building. Shout out to my boy BMT, man. Yeah, go cop some new merch.
All right, we back. What's good? What's good, family? What's good, Delane?
On, man. What's going on? What's
Nothing
happening?
much, man. Nothing much, man. So
Yeah.
tell us, man. A lot of brothers not familiar with Australia. What made you want to decide to Australia? Like, what made you want to decide to go to Australia?
The first time I met an Australian woman
Mm-hmm.
or Australian person was in New York. New York is a
Mm-hmm.
very metropolitan city. Everybody knows it's a melting pot. It was during college, and I was on an app. I'm not sure what the dating app was at the time, and we matched. And she was like a 9 out of a 10, easy. Probably could have been a 10 out of a 10. And we hung out. We had a great night, and to keep it PG, we just had a great night, and that made an impression on me because comparing my experiences with the other women I dated in New York compared to that small sample size of dating her, and that well, it wasn't an actual date. We just hung out. We got together. It was just so effortless, and the chemistry was there. The physical chemistry was there. It was a lot of sparks, and she was extremely hot. So that made me think about Australia. And she was from Sydney, and every now and then I thought about like, man, what would it be like to go to Australia? So um, I'll say fast forward another year or two down the line, I met another girl, and she was from Melbourne, and it was the same experience. So I just kept having positive experiences with them, and that's usually the good part about New York. I mean, I don't know about how it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't live there now, but it's kind of chaotic. But years ago, it was a good sample size of all around the world because you have everybody from all around the world coming to New York because they are enamored by the media, the movies, how New York is portrayed, how it's glamorized, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like Sex in the City, uh, any movie you can think about where New York is the backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So pretty much, I was like, you know what? Because it took me a while to get to the, as we call it, the big three or the big four. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get to Brazil yet. I just got to Brazil. I never been
Mm-hmm.
to DR. I haven't been to Thailand yet. And what's the other one? Am I missing one out? Colombia? I haven't even been to.
Colombia.
So
Right. Right.
I've been traveling for 10 years, but my travel itineraries has been Scandinavia, Mexico, places like Belize. I just picked places based on certain experiences that I had in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how I started. So I had a friend of mine. He's a really good travel buddy. He's Nigerian American, but he looks good. He has good style. He stays in shape. And I was like, yo, man, I'm having these great experiences with the Australian girls here. He said he did too. I was like, yo, we should go to Australia. So we looked up the tickets to flights, and the flights were like 1,000, 1,200. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, hold up now, hold up now.
That's not actually not that bad for Australia's far.
Right.
It's,
So
it's 8 hours from Thailand, so
yeah,
shit.
I actually managed to get the ticket for 800. So we flew
Mm,
over for the first time.
mm,
He was like, "You know what, man? I want to come with you. Every time we travel, we always have a good time. You're like the perfect person to travel with. You're really fun." So we decided to go to Melbourne, and that's how it kicked off. That was like the first city. And
mhm,
Melbourne is very similar to New York in terms of weather, infrastructure, the way it's ran, the circulation patterns, the architecture. At the time I was a full time architect. So I was an architect now. I was like, man, there's a lot of crazy buildings like the Sydney Opera House. There's a lot of like uh, university style buildings out there that I wanted to see. Just off the strength of that alone, I was like, all right, well, of course they got the women, but they got the architecture.
mhm,
And I remember when we we actually missed our flight
mhm.
because the New York train systems, I don't know what was going on that day. So we ended up leaving the next day and we missed out the first 2 days. So it actually takes like 27 hours to get there.
So are you flying across America and maybe tapping in Cali, then going to the Pacific?
Yeah, you go from New York to LA,
Mhm,
about 6 hours, and then
mhm.
another 14, 15 to Melbourne.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can ask anybody that's a seasoned traveler. If day one is good, then you're in a good spot, right? You can like feel it in the air. It's like palpable energy, right? Like you can get to the airport and you can see how people perceive you.
Mhm,
As soon as we got to the airport, I mean, let's be honest, right? The women were looking, you know, my friend, he looks like an African Tyson Bedford type guy.
mhm.
I got the R&B thing, Jason Derulo. I don't know if you want to call that, but
You're right, right.
R&B swag or whatever. So
Mhm,
um as soon as we got there, we ran into some girls that were looking at us heavy, and we were like, "Yo, you know how it is, brothers from New York. The way
mhm,
we would talk to women, we are very aggressive. We'll just go up to them if they showing shoes and signals because it's a dog
mhm,
eat dog world in New York. If you don't go up to the girl, somebody else will, right?
mhm, mhm,
We didn't really rely on apps in New York. So in the airport, right off the bat, man, got some numbers, and they were like, "Yo, hang out with us. We'll have a good time." We're looking at each other and we're like, damn, we didn't even get in our Airbnb.
mhm,
Um, so another thing I noticed is we were swiping on Tinder, pipelining before we got there. We matched with the same girls. So if you're traveling with a buddy, you want to look out for stuff like that. You guys look alike. There's a big chance you're gonna end up, parlaying with the same girl. Because I remember the first day we got to the Airbnb. Um, we stayed on the outskirts of CBD, Central Business District. And CBD is kind of like Manhattan of New York.
mhm,
If you're a first time visitor to Melbourne or a first time visitor to Australia, go to Melbourne first. People are more open. It's more things to do, more things to see. It's metropolitan. It's a thriving city. But we stayed on the outskirts. I think it was called Charleston or something like that. And
mhm,
we were like, "Yo, where the hell are we?" It was kinda like saloon, like Wild Wild West type style, and we were thinking to ourselves like, "Yo, we might have messed up."
mhm,
He had his date come over. He's like, "Yeah, I got a date coming over." I was like, "God damn, you got a date coming over already? It's only been 2 hours." He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, guess what? I got a date coming over too. He's like, we start laughing. And the date that he had come over was a girl I actually matched with on Tinder and I was talking to. And I'm like, yo, I had talked to her. And my date, he was like, yo, I know her. So basically, that little bit of information can just tell you how small of a population brothers are actually there, right? Because they're not there in abundance. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Okay, so I want to address some of the comments in the comment section. I want to give a shout out to my man Wojo in the building. He was on the show yesterday. Also, my man Kirby P Films, always representing. Says, what up, BMT, ATL, another ATL brother. I got my man Andre from Andre and Andrea Love Crossing Border. He says, great topic. Now, we got some scattered comments because I got guys that say they love Australia. They
Yeah.
say Gold Coast, Australia is the place to be, gentlemen. Thank me later. But then I got some guys that are saying, hold on, let me pull it up. Australia is westernized. Australia is no go for dating. Australia is a no go for dating. For me, it's westernized, feminist, whole solid John. And then I got Clint Jefferson that says it's a lot of racism there. All right. He says you might want to stay in America if you want to go there. All right. So what do you think about these comments? Is it racist? Is it prejudice? Is it America time number two? Like what's going on?
Uh, so I've been to Australia 4 times. Each time I went, I planned to stay for 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I had such a great time that I ended up staying a month. So that means I spent 4 months in Australia. And in that time,
Mm,
I never faced racism. And to be fair, this is before the pandemic. So
mhm,
this time frame was years ago.
mhm,
Uh, but I will say, to be fair, every place has its pros and cons, right? It's not all sunshines and rainbows. So on my last visit, I actually went to Brisbane and I met a girl there and I ended up staying for a month. She did say some alarming things. She talked about uh
mhm.
what is uh the indigenous community.
Okay.
And being a black American guy, the way she spoke about it was like I identify with the indigenous people because their history is very similar to ours.
Okay.
Turned me off. But as a man, you have to put women in categories. You immediately, if she starts talking like that,
Mhm,
you either leave or you be like, all right, well, I can't take her seriously.
mhm,
And it's my responsibility. She gives me the information. I mean, that's the whole point of dating somebody or hanging out with them. You vetting them out, right?
mhm.
Not them vetting you out. Is you vetting each other out. So
So she did. She was saying racist thing towards the black indigenous
it
there in Australia. To you,
wasn't
and
like
you.
it wasn't like she was like trying to be outwardly showing
Mhm,
hatred towards them. It was more from a place of ignorance.
okay.
She
Okay.
don't know the history. The way she was explaining it, in my head, I was like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound kosher. Um, it was from a place of entitlement. And I was like, damn, she think like that about them. Like I wanted to have those discussions about, well, this is my history. It's very similar.
Mhm.
But when
Now
I'm
what's some of the history? Like they were colonized and by the British, correct?
I'm be honest, I'm not a crazy historian on what happened, but
Mhm,
I do believe I think the Australians themselves were enslaved and they brought over to Australia. But yeah, um, similar to the Native Americans,
mhm,
you know, people came over and they colonized the Native Americans and pretty much took away their land. The same thing happened to Australia. Um, People came over, and then you have this small indigenous population. They've been kind of like knocked over to the side, and yeah, I mean, you don't really see much of them. Uh, a majority of them are low low income. They get assistance, but they are very on the outskirts. they're not really looked at well in that country, to my knowledge, based on like the few conversations I had with dates. So
You
when
know,
it,
it's funny, man, because I have a DJ here who's been all over the world, and he was saying that Australians, you know, the whites will talk down on the blacks there as if you're not a black person and you don't identify with somebody that looks like you.
Mhm.
You know, it's almost like being around a white person, and even though he might be American, you're talking shit about a white Canadian. You know, he might
Yeah.
feel a certain way if you're saying it's, you know, certain things. You know, so I
Mhm.
understand what you're saying because I've heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, there's levels to this because you know, if I am a Black American guy, and let's say I'm wearing like Air Force Ones, uh, a hoodie and like a fitted hat or whatever, New York look, Yankee hat, and
Mhm.
another guy's doing the same thing, but he's African. An Australian girl will vet me out to see if I'm an African guy trying to be like a Black American guy.
They do the same thing in Thailand, bro.
So because they don't like majority don't like African guys, but this is like not I'm not generalizing here. This is from like conversations that I had. They said
Mhm.
it's a big problem where when you go to the clubs or social settings or just walking down the street, the African guys try to act like they're Black American because you know Black Americans are more cool. They socially in the eye of them of the Australians, they're more
Black Americans got money.
capitalism,
Yeah, that's what it really is.
powerhouse. I mean, the media,
Mhm.
movies. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Social engineering. So a
Mhm.
social construct is set up the way we're like number one. So they're like, yeah, man, those and like they complain like, oh, the African guys, they fall in love day one, they ready to move in quick. And but when you're a Black American guy, they're all over you, man. They're all over you. You know, they're like, yeah, we're waiting for you to come off the plane. We're looking for guys like you. So
Now we got 78 in the room, guys. Do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button. Uh, so when you going out, is it easier to date I guess you want to say the white or mulatto Brazilian, and do you guys date the indigenous or the black people
um
there any, or like how do they even look? I don't think nobody even knows how they really look.
well in Melbourne, you don't really see too many of them. It's like just think about your experience in America and I know you said you lived in Atlanta, right?
Hmm.
How many Native Americans did you come across?
Man, I've only seen a handful when I go up to Cherokee Casino in North Carolina. And what was crazy is I remember seeing this Native American guy in like an Indian grocery store, right? And he actually was like red. His skin was actually almost red, like this color right here. And I was just so shocked, like, damn, they actually are red complected, you know.
Right.
And I mean, he looks like the logo for the Indians, you know, baseball team. He actually looked
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the casino, I seen some Indian women, and I didn't realize that they had a little body on them, like sisters. I was like, oh, that's Indian. Like I had no idea that they come with a little something in the trunk too. So it was just interesting. Like, wow, like they really got screwed over horribly. And it
Yeah.
was I think the Georgia in the area was the Trail of Tears. So when you follow that little path, you just like, damn, the land is beautiful, but it got so much depth and blood within the soil of it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. But yeah, it's very rare you run into them. You don't see them at all in Atlanta. You got to actually go to the casino to see them where they working at, and they're beautiful. Like I
Right.
had no idea any women was so beautiful like that. But you know, in South, not the South in general, had darker hued Indians, like in Florida and in Georgia, South Carolina, and stuff like that. And what they did was they took a census, and when took the census, since they had the $5 Indians and yeah, people that was paying $5 to get on the table so they can get land, Native Americans, they actually classified those darker skinned Indians as black.
Oh wow.
So it was like, so they, it was crazy. So a lot of Black Americans in the South actually have Native Indian in their bloodline. It might
Right.
be damn near 30, 40%. But if you take a DNA test, they're gonna give you that bullshit. Oh, you 1% Indian. How am I 1% Indian when my great grandmama is half Indian? Like I'm
Yeah.
literally looking at my great grandmama right here. She's like 97 years old. She's half Indian, half Blackfoot, Blackfoot and black, because the Indians and the blacks in the South mixed more over than the ones in the West and the North, where they had lighter skin.
Mm-hmm.
So they identify more with the complexion, the whites a little bit,
Right.
and long hair. But if
Right.
you look at any of the Indians or the Seminoles, like in Florida or anything like that, they are red and black.
That's
Not to
interesting.
get not to get too off subject, but yeah, that was
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to find the Aboriginals in Australia, you got to go outside the city, and they call it the bush. They have communities. Not to, not, I'm saying this wrong, but like it's similar to going to Africa. Like if you go to Nairobi, you have the city, but then you have the outskirts and you have these villages. You know what I mean? So it's like very similar setup. But I haven't seen any. I just heard about them.
So now some people will say, we got 107 in the room, guys. Do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button. Now, some would say, guys traveling are like dating coaches. They always brag on how these foreign women want to meet them and see them, but they never bring any receipts. All right. So we don't want to be like dating coaches. Do you have any receipts whatsoever? Like, any of the women dating or anything? Yeah, I know the crowd want to see. Do you have anything to show or anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to pull it up?
Hold on. Let me pull it up. Because some people might say you cap. Some people might say you cap it. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see what we got here. Hold on.
The ones that have the really.
What's that? Hold on. Let me see. Okay, so give us a little rundown. What's this video right here?
So this is she's from Brisbane, and I met her actually in New York on a dating app Tinder, and she's a flight attendant.
Okay.
We matched. We hit it. We had good vibes, and then we just went on. We started going on dates, and I think we took our first date was at a Mexican restaurant, and I think that's in the video too. You can see it. I had shorter hair at that time. And we had some really interesting conversations, man. I think it was like her first time coming to the States. And one of the things she said to me was, she's like, wow, there's some brothers that come over to Australia. She was like, I would rate them as a 7, and they would get a lot of love. And she was saying, like, if I go there, and I'm like, I told her I already been there like at least once or twice. She said you would definitely do damage. She was like, wow, I thought that guy that was a 7 was more than a 7, but once I got to America and she saw other men out here, she's like, wow, there's another level to this, because she, when you're in New York, there's a lot of competition. And
them New Yorkers be cutthroat, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time in New York.
Try to holler at your girl a little, boy. I don't know what the New York cat. Atlanta dudes do that too, though.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Underneath, I just have like a normal crop, the Zulux tights on, the ones that have the really nice bum, and then I've got the Nike AF1s.
What's going on, fellas? This is Delane Isaac, and in this clip, I want to talk.
Okay, so this is the YouTube video you posted, right?
Yeah, that's some of these videos I gotta like, it can't be for the public, man. So it's not there anymore. I can't get
you took the video down?
I took it down, but like I'm just saying, like going forward, guys want to see stuff, man, they gotta go to Patreon, man. Patreon.com/no reservations, man. Because I gotta
let's do this. Let's drop it on the Passport Bros app for us.
Okay. Yeah,
drop it on the Passport Bros app.
No doubt.
But we'll break a little bit of the video down. We'll do a little review. That cool?
That's fine.
Cool.
Talk about what's it like to date an Australian woman and how to do Australia. I've been to Australia 3 times, and in those 3 times, I stayed for a month at a time. So some may and may not agree with me on this, but I'd say Australian women are some of the most beautiful women on the planet. And I'll just add that it's not what you think when you get there. For example, in Melbourne, you will see plenty of African Australians, Asian Australians, all different types of flavors of women in these metropolitan areas. And if you're a foreigner, or let's say American, then you really will do well here because it's so damn far away. Chances are you will be, in most cases, the only American. In fact, as a Black American myself, being a minority in my own country, you will be a minority in Australia. But before I talk about my date, this is displayed here on the screen. Here's a fun fact. I almost moved to Australia because I liked it so much. I had an interview and I got the job. So just put that in perspective, however you see fit.
Now, I remember when I told you, I think I messaged you. I was like, "Yo, this is the Patreon style video."
Yeah,
Way too much game.
I should have listened to you, man. And now going forward, I'm gonna be putting out daily videos of the different countries because I'm doing myself in the channel a disservice.
Mhm.
I have so many countries that I want to just cover, and I'm gonna start putting them out. So I'm gonna sprinkle them in the Patreon and sprinkle them on the YouTube because I just want to be safe.
Okay.
Anyway, so back to my date. I just want y'all to know I have multiple stories. So if you guys want to see more of the Aussie series, just let me know in the comments because I have more footage from my trips and more experiences with dating Australian women. So when I met my date, we met up at a bar, and I remember her telling me this crazy stuff, man. Eye-opening experiences. It was a culture shock. So she says, a lot of brothers go to Australia and they do really well. I kind of had an inclination because, not a lot of brothers are there anyway, and it's so far away from the States. So she goes and tells me she met this Black guy once and she gave him a rating system. And she said, I gave him a 7. Flight attendant, and she starts venturing out to other states. And she realized, that guy that she gave a 7, he's more like a 5. Because when she gets to the States, like she went to the LA, she realized, this guy's an average Joe, average Joseph. So I thought this was interesting because I thought to myself, how would she rate me? So she goes on, she starts talking more about how she thinks I'm really attractive. Now,
Okay, so you just going over what you had mentioned before.
Yeah, I'm just recalling from the stories the conversations that we talked about.
Okay.
Average Joe. He was an average Joseph.
Yeah,
So I'm just thinking back to the conversation with other Australian women, and they said that,
Guys, just to let you know what I'm wearing a crop from Target, and this top is from Glassons, and these tights are Lululemon. They're literally my favorites. Ching!
okay, they actually didn't say that, but I just wanted to give you guys a sense of her personality. This is what they really said. They want to move because the men are in Australia aren't the men that they want. So this is a crazy thing to hear, because I like thick women. I like women that got dump trucks back there, man. I ain't gonna lie. And she had one. So she tells me that most Australian men don't even like my body type. They don't even like thick women. Australian men prefer women who are prototypical model or supermodel type that's tall, skinny, or petite. She ain't telling no lies there, man, because I talked to another Australian woman and she said the same thing. Said the same reasons. But here is the caveat. She doesn't like them and they don't like her. So you have a plethora of women who are sought after from the majority of the men and vice versa.
Interesting, bro. That was an interesting video.
Yeah, it keeps going, but yeah, man, them Australian dudes, they don't like them thick. So already the local guys don't like them. Then she likes the brothers like her. There's not a lot of brothers there, so it's just like the logistics, man. It's just supply and demand. So there are a lot of as I stated before, there are a lot of African Australian women there, all types of Asian Australian there. There's a big Asian population in Melbourne. But yeah, man, as you can see,
there's no language barrier, of course, which makes it even easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the pros. I mean, there's pros and cons to every place, but that's one of the pros.
Let's talk about a little bit of some of the logistics, like how much an Airbnb for a month would cost.
Um, I like to travel low season. You
Hmm.
know, like for example, instead of going to Brazil during the carnival, I like to go like I like to go after the carnival, like soon as the carnival is over, April, May, like March, April, May, everything is drastically cheaper. So that's the way I like to travel. So normally you'll spend like 2 G's, 2,500 high season.
Hmm.
But if you do low season, you can if you work, if that's one of my cheat codes, if you work with the Airbnb person and you tell them, hey, listen, I'm gonna stay with you for a month. I'm a dedicated customer. Can you hook me up? Most oftentimes than not, they will because Airbnb has a fee that they tack on. That's why, we get this sometimes you get this outrageous prices from cleaning fees and all those other fees. So they'll
Hmm.
work with you and take those some of those fees off. You can get by paying 1,200. And it'll be is if you're in CBD, central business district, you'll get an amazing spot. Then the architecture is incredible. When I stayed in Melbourne, I had views overlooking the city. We had awesome amenities. We had a high tech gym, a sauna, a pool, a guard. It doesn't really matter because Australia is really safe.
Hmm.
It was state of the art interior design and architecture, and I went through the low season, so I saved a lot of money.
So what budget would a guy have to have around to do a 2 week trip to Australia?
Um, you
Nice,
gonna
nice 1 bedroom.
you're gonna spend at least 1,200 off the flights alone, round trip, and you better not miss that trip, man. You don't want to miss that first trip. So that's 1,200. Eating wise, I don't know how you like. I don't know. I'm not a drinker, and that cuts out a lot.
Hmm.
Nightlife is incredible there. You're gonna want to go out, man. It's incredible. It's some of the best nightlife out there. So you're gonna
Hmm.
spend some money on that. The food is I'm not gonna lie, it's moderately priced because it's a great economy. They get paid well out there. So you're gonna spend probably another five. Let's see, that's like 2,000. You probably need like 3 to 4 G's.
3, 4 thousand. Okay.
Yeah,
For a
because
two, for a 2 week trip, okay, that's pretty good.
so for 2 weeks trip, because you want to be safe because you want an emergency. You want that emergency cushion, just in case something happens or whatever the case may be. Yeah, yeah, 2 to 3,000. He's right. He's actually spot on. But if you're staying in a luxury spot, you're going out at night. I would push 4. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to go to Australia pinching pennies, man.
Hmm.
It's just not that type of place where you don't want to do that. And I was very unaware. Like my travel history when I first started traveling, I was going to places with the highest GDP. My background is architecture. I worked at corporate architecture. I was getting paid handsomely, so I wasn't really thinking about that. When I've been to places like Norway, I spent like 2 G's in a couple days, and
Hmm.
I just wasn't aware. But now, when I started going to Mexico, I went to Brazil, and I was like, God damn, all that money I was just blowing away. But it was a great experience, so it wasn't a waste of money.
Hmm. I got Andre in here says he's correct. Some advice I give dudes staying in Colombia in long trips. Airbnb hosts will hook you up outside of Airbnb in high season.
Oh man, I would love to come on his show. I watch his show all the time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's a cheat code. I did that even in Brazil. I remember
Hmm.
when I first came to Rio, I had a spot right off the beach, a studio, and I talked to the person. It was already cheap, and then I made it even cheaper.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
How Australia was even put on my map was when I remember back in years back I met an Australian bombshell in New York. It was a dating app. I forgot what dating app it was. It's not popular anymore. And she invited me straight over, and she was a fucking knockout, man. With full transparency, we had sex from 10 p.m.
Yeah, Patreon. We gotta leave that for the Patreon. You see the rest of the video on the Passport Bros app, all right?
Yo, I was going crazy, man. Yeah, that's why you see I had to take it down, man.
Right. It's all
Wow.
good. It's all good. We're gonna drop that in the Passport Bros app today. All right.
That's wild, man.
All right. So what you got here? Just give us some context here.
So it's similar to New York where you have a lot of people from all over the world that come visit. It just attracts all walks of life. So she's from Greece.
Okay.
Staying there. We just hit it off in Milburn, and immediately we just went on numerous dates. She was fun, very flirty. You'll see it in the video, and it was hard for me to not see her because she kept saying like, "Oh, I know you got all these girls lined up. You're not gonna have no time for me." And my thing is, it's like, yo, if she's showing me love and she's attractive and we get along, I'm not say reward, but I'm gonna spend more time with her instead of, you know, wasting my time with somebody that maybe mediocre interests. I'm all about high interest. And anything I do, business, friendship, dating, I'm all high interest because it just cuts out, life is too short. So I went with her and this is how, and I was like, hey, is it cool? We can film. And she's like, cool. She's super flirty and fun, man. She was taller than me.
She was taller than you? Damn, how?
Taller than me, bro. She was like 6'1.5".
Oh, okay. Because you about 6 foot, right? 6
I'm definitely, yeah. She was taller than me, She had me some inches.
Okay. Yeah, my man, you got the R&B thing going on.
Yeah, I had there was some Omarion playing in the car.
Gotcha.
Distance between us. So I had to put that song over it. So YouTube, it's YouTube friendly.
Got you. We are doing something that dating coaches never do. All right. We are showing receipts. Always showing receipts. Shout out to my man Delane. Hey, put a link to your channel in the comments, bro, so I can pin it to the top.
All right, hold on a second. Give me a second.
You have to pay. Yeah.
In this clip, you can see how playful my date is. Greek girls are very friendly and easygoing. They will welcome you into groups of friends and introduce you to everybody. Now, this can seem sometimes misinterpreted as easy, but do not be fooled. This was our actual second date on our way to the beach.
We got DJP in the building. Dennis Jean Pierre said Delane be getting all the girls. LOL. Shout out to
my
DJP.
God.
As you can see, she is very sociable, and usually you can find Greek women in a large group of friends, which they've known for ages. Literally, from early childhood, friends from school, or the neighborhood. And they also keep close connections and go out with cousins of the similar age. But they are very welcoming to new people, so their friend group grows larger with time. One thing I noticed, how beautiful Greek women can be. I met her off Tinder, so if you're wondering about chatting up women before getting into Greece, they are keen on this. When I matched with her, one thing I noticed was that she was absolutely stunning. I can only imagine why wars were started during the Helen of Troy. First thing I noticed about my date was that she looked even better than her photos. Walking around Greece, I noticed women were curvy but never fat. Most were short.
Also, this is in Australia
This
or
is
Greece?
this is in Australia, but
Okay.
I was just talking about Greek women because I had like I was playing with different styles.
Mhm,
This is a different style from that first video. I was just trying to find my
mhm,
voice. But she was in Australia. This is all everything. This is actually in the outskirts of CBD area, the Charleston. This is the apartment that we were in. So
mhm.
we met very early on that trip because I was there for 2 weeks. And we ended up going to Sydney after that. I spent some time in Gold Coast, Brisbane. I didn't want to leave, man. I really didn't. I need it was like it was man, yeah. It's crazy, bro. Crazy memories, man. It's top three, man. Australia is top three for me.
Mhm.
I would say it's like the second or the third best country for me. But I will caveat and say this, I will keep it real. There's pros and cons to every place you visit. Um, is it conducive for traditional marriages? It's a very liberal, they have big pockets of liberalism, and that means
Mhm.
feminism, people bring that up and stuff. But you will meet somebody that you can vibe with that's not a feminist. Um, they're out
Mhm.
they're out there. And if you do meet somebody that's not your speed, don't give them the time of day. You know what I mean?
So
Um,
would you suggest like Tinder and pre-gaming before you even get out there, or can you just go to the club and cold approach?
you could do both. You could do
Mm,
both. In the when you go to the nightclubs, the first time we went to a nightclub, it was a line, and I never get this to this day. Me and my friend, we're walking in line. We're like dressed up, blazers. We got the shoes on and everything, slacks and everything. And we go to the bouncer and we say, "Hey, we don't know how this works. It's a place called Miss Collins. You guys could look it up. Like Chris Brown goes there. Um, all the like rappers they perform there, and it's like one of the high-end spots. They do hip hop. They have Latin nights. I remember when we went to a Latin, we went to a Latin night on Thursdays. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know they had a big Latin community like that. So I was like, yo, this is like a niche. But we talked to the bouncer. He says, he's like, yo, where you guys from? We like, oh, we're from America, New York or whatever. And he's like, yo, just come on in. So there was a long line. We just skipped and we went straight in. And I did to this day, I never understood that. That actually happened to me a couple times in other countries too. And we got in. I was getting compliments from guys. Guys were like, "Yo, I like your blazer." Um, you know, I was getting love for the women. So yeah, you could do both approach. It's very warm approach.
nice.
But regardless of your height, you will always feel like a big man next to her. Well, my date was actually 6'1". The Mediterranean Sea has done its job in making her skin bronze. She had wider hips and a smaller yet firm top. Greek women are absolutely beautiful. Again. I can't see your face. Let me see your face. Let me see a chic. Let me see chic. There we go. Chic. Show me that chic.
You remember everything.
Yeah. Greek women are considered pretty in that unobtrusive, natural way. They do not overdo their makeup, and why would they put makeup on the beach and in those temperatures anyway, right? The natural flush look is always sexier. Majority of them have light skin that gets that sexy bronze tone during the long and hot Mediterranean summers. Do that again? Because you just
All right,
Uh,
man. Dope,
she's
dope.
she's super playful, man.
Mhm,
Like a lot of Greek women are like that, and Australian
mhm,
people, they're very playful.
mhm.
So yeah. But Melbourne's very metropolitan city, is very similar to New York make some comparisons. Obviously, not like New York because it's Australian. Um, I had some successful African Australian women. They they're number one, like looking for us. They love us. DJP.
Yeah, we got my man DJP with $9.99 super chat, man. Really appreciate that, man. A repeated guest, just like you. I gotta have both of you on the panel at some point. He asked, "What are y'all opinions on meeting women on dating apps while overseas versus cold approach?" Man, that's a great question. That's a great question because it's in Australia. There's no language barrier, so you can really cold approach with ease. Thailand, there's no language barrier for the in most cases in the bigger cities, Bangkok, Pattaya, Chiang Mai. Most of them speak a little English or broken English. They at least understand you. But if you're in Brazil and Colombia, where you got Portuguese, and of course, Dennis, you speak fluent Portuguese, and you got Spanish in Colombia, then I would say the dating apps, and we know the dating apps are a little sketchy in Colombia, kind of a little dangerous. You got to be real careful. But yeah, it really depends. What do you think, Dwayne?
I would say, before that, I would say when you going somewhere, get a consultation, man. Because get a consultation from somebody that looks like you. Because before I went to Brazil, I followed DJP's channel for a while. I was throwing under my super chats, asking questions. I should have just gone ahead and just got a consultation because over a course of time, that's what I was doing anyway. And then once I heard the great stories, I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. He looks like me. He's having great success. That's what I would say first. But to answer the question, depends on. I think it's a great way to see how the temperature of the culture treats you. If you're on the dating app before you get there, you can kind of get a nice little forecast, right? Before you go outside, do I need an umbrella? Is it gonna rain on me? Like for example, if you go to a place and you're on a dating app and you're not getting any love, it's most like chances you're not gonna get love when you get there. That's my opinion. So it's a great way to test the waters before you get to a place. But I say diversify. It's like getting stocks, mutual funds, and diversify your dating portfolio. Do both. Depends on what you're looking for.
Exactly. No, I agree. Like I paid for a consultation the first time I was in Brazil. There was no way I was gonna pop up. And I've seen guys do that. I've seen guys go to Brazil, go to Thailand, right? Get upset because they didn't have a enjoyable experience, and they get on YouTube and be like, they hate black men in Thailand. I've seen videos like that. I'd be like, really? Like, really? Like, where did you go? But more than likely, he might have been hanging around somebody with a hue or something. I don't know. Maybe his experience was different. I can't say it wasn't. All I'm saying is like, okay, the tale of two countries, right? I'm like, dude, I went to Thailand and had a really good time. I got more love in Thailand than I did in probably any other country as a black man, right? And so it's like, you're right. The base, if you're really interested, especially if you're moving there, I try to tell cats all the time. I say consultations are mainly if you're staying like 2 weeks or better, or you plan on moving to another country, right? I mean, we got guys with properties, actually own properties in Brazil, Colombia, and Thailand, and then you're interested in owning a property, or at least trying to put yourself in a position to get a property, and then you want the information for free. Like this dude going to take the time out of his day to provide you with that information at no cost. We got to get out of that habit.
Yeah,
that everything has to be free. No, if you're a YouTuber, if you looked at the average YouTuber, let's say over 10,000 subscribers, right? If you look at their emails, say they got their email address out there. If you look at their emails, you could be reading emails for a whole hour because you got so many questions people won't answer. That's the point of doing the consultations. Now, if you don't want to get a consultation, if you want them guys to be like, hey, and I'm not even speaking on me on my consultations. I'm just saying in general, because you got a whole bunch of travel YouTubers. You got Zoe, you got Delane, you got me, you got Travelversity, you got Taylor Made, you got Richie Mack, you got Andre, of course. Everybody does consultations, right? And that can really change your travel experience. Dennis Jean-Pierre, I mean, these guys are, well versed in what you need to know, basically. Or you can just do it. Like I say, there's no problem in exploring and doing it. You can go out there and do whatever. That's true. but you're gonna have a much better experience when you actually with somebody that can put you on and tie you into a network. Much better experience. And I will say this though, in concerns of a place like Colombia, you 100% want to get a consultation.
Yeah. Like if I
You
ever
know what
go,
I'm saying?
I'm hitting you up, man. If I ever go there.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely. I mean, dude, these guys are moving so reckless out here, and I don't never victim blame because things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not one of them guys to be like point the finger like it couldn't have happened to me or somebody, but I just be like, when I read the story, I've been like, wrong move, wrong move,
Right.
wrong move, and now the guy's dead. You see
Mm.
what I'm saying? Like I've seen it. Like, okay, you met her on Tinder, you didn't validate none of her social media.
Mhm.
Wrong move number one. You met where she wanted to meet. Wrong move number two. You went to the crib within 5 minutes of meeting her.
Mm.
Right? She didn't even want to. She didn't even want to order nothing to eat. She just saw you, and you were just so handsome and amazing. She wanted to go right back to the house and sleep with you. Right? And then she invited her homegirl too. So you got 4 red flags before you got drugged.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you probably would have known the information if you had either asked it in a Facebook group or paid for a consultation. I'm not trying to upsell here. I'm just saying in general, brothers got to get into the habit when they're moving to different countries
Mhm.
to say, you know what, I followed the lane. Let me hit him up and see if he do consultations. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And for the most part, brothers are getting consultations. Like, yeah, I do consultations every week.
Yeah.
But
I'll do some.
yeah, you know what? It's funny, man, because I remember what really got me interested in consultations. Because I do what I do, like when I do business with my lawyers and everything, I pay them for their time. Right. If I have a question, I never lead off with like, hey, can you answer this for me? No. How much you need for a consultation? Because within an hour with that lawyer, they'll provide you so much information, you can
Mhm.
literally just go to a paralegal and get it done.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of putting them on a payroll or something like that. These guys are giving you the time. I remember when Master P, and we all know the successful Master P, right? I
Mhm.
remember when he paid for a consultation from one of the top lawyers. I think it was Michael Jackson's lawyer, right? He
Mhm.
paid this guy like $250,000 or something like that. And all he did was say, hey, man, get a distribution deal,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
So he paid all that money to Michael Jackson's lawyer, and we know how much money P made. P made a record distribution deal label where he took no money up front. He just distributed and he did his own marketing and made probably more money than anybody in the music industry has really made, bro. More
Mm.
money than Puffy, more money than all these other artists because he paid for a consultation, which was a super expensive consultation. I think he said he paid $250,000 to Michael Jackson's lawyer.
Dang. It's well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And I, I visit every time I visit, I learn something new. Like on my very
Mm-hmm.
last one, I learned there's a place in Millburn called Little Africa. It's like a pocket of just black people. And I'm like, man. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned that on my last day when I left. I was like, well, when I come back, and I was wrong.
So you learned that you say there's a little pocket of Afro people. Like, what do they? Do you even know what they call themselves? Do they refer themselves as Black Australians
Uh,
or
I
Indigenous
don't
Australians?
I don't know because on my last day, I went to McDonald's
Mm-hmm.
and just to go to the bathroom, and I ran into a Nigerian dude, and we hit it off, and he gave me his WhatsApp. He says, "Yo, there's a place called Little Africa. They give you haircuts. It's a community. They got nightclubs." And I'm like, "Damn!" On my last day, I found that out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the last time I was in Australia. So I was like, "Well,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it next time," and I haven't been back since.
Now, did you see any like Afro women or anything? Like, how do they even look? Like, give us
Yeah,
some
man.
idea.
I was talking to a few. I talked to at
Mhm.
least it was super cool, man.
I would love to interview one, male or female. I just would love to interview someone, just give us kind of like, because as Black Americans, sometimes you think like we the only ones that had the struggle, right? That
Yeah, man.
blacks in the diaspora, however you want to, indigenous people, and you start listening to other people's histories and narratives, and you'd be like, damn,
Mhm.
like that was, we had
There's a
it bad, but they had it bad as well.
Yeah, there's a big population of African Australians there, and
Mhm.
a lot of the women, they either model, and they're gorgeous, man.
Now, do they look phenotypically like Black Americans, or they look maybe more so like Black Brazilians? Like what flavor do they have? They're like African, like what flavor do they have?
See if I could pull one up. But basically, if you would go to Kenya
Hmm.
or South African,
Okay.
got like a. It was one I was talking to. Let's see if I can find a photo of her. She looks. Now I'm looking at it. She does look Kenyan. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on a
We got
second.
144 in the room. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're not sub, make sure you subscribe to us. So she's Australian.
She's Australian.
You got to put that up on the screen one more time. Y'all see that, fellas? Okay.
I was talking to her. Yeah, she's a.
Now she's indigenous. She's indigenous.
No, she's African.
Okay.
Australian.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I think she's from either Ghana. I forgot, man. And we talked for a hot minute. Yeah, man. We went out. I've gone out with some African, like they show a lot of love, and I'm like, man, you know what? I'm all about going when people show love to me, man. So
Okay. So out of all the countries you've been to, which one? I know there are differences. You don't necessarily have to rank them, but what was like your top little couple of countries?
I don't know. It's tough to rank them, but I'll say Brazil, Australia, and Mexico's up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like honoraries, I would say I did enjoy Scandinavia for what it was. But Brazil, once I got to Brazil, I was like, wow, man. Australia and Mexico. Mexico has a place in my heart for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
During the pandemic, I was working remotely. And that's when we started doing the girls on the podcast.
What's going on,
My
Phil?
bad. My bad. I didn't mean to start over. Now, what was you saying now?
Oh yeah, by the way, I dropped a link. I put it in the chat a long time ago though.
Did you put it in the private chat? I don't see it.
Really?
You put it in the private chat? No. Yeah, you put it in private. Well, no, just put it in the chat.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah, I see it. It's in the private chat. Okay, I got you.
My bad.
I got you. No problem. Let me pin your channel up real quick.
Those three come to my mind right now. Man. But I do want to get to Africa, man. I've seen brothers move around. I think I'm gonna like Kenya a lot and then South Africa.
You know what's hard about being a passport, bro, man? It's like people ask me about my preference, like who you want to be with. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't really. At this point, I really don't have a preference. It's whoever.
Yeah, I don't really.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's whoever rocks with me, especially being an older guy. It's like, man, whoever rock with me. If we got a good formula going, if we got a good relationship going, if I benefit with being with her and vice versa, she benefits with being with me. I mean, I have who I'm attracted to. Like I love, of course, Afro women and Afro Latinas and African women. I love that, but I'm like, man, her mindset is so important to our sanity as a man. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody that really has faith in you and you have faith in her. So at this point with the international dating market, I'm not trying to like push brothers into interracial relationships or anything like that. I'm like, bro, it's about to get so sketchy out here in the next few years. You just got to get with who really follows your program. That's the best way I can put it.
Exactly.
Because she look like you, skin folk ain't always kin folk. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll put you up in that court system like anybody else, right? So money is green for a reason. They made that color for a reason. Bro.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I'm heading to Rio soon. My ducks are in a row. I'm telling you, man, the Afro Latino, they bringing it. They're bringing it. I got one in mind that I'm just like, I don't know.
You know what's interesting, Delane? It's like we have a black population in almost every country. You ever notice that?
Yeah, that's true.
Like I'm in Southeast Asia seeing black people that's phonetically black. I'm just sitting here like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, where they been hiding you? Like, I've never seen I don't know what to call them, Afro, call them black, because they just gonna say they Thai.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you darker than me. Like, what's up, my somebody? Like it's the same thing. I mean, when I went to Cambodia, man, I was just like super shocked. I was just like, yo, what like, hey, come here, like,
Yeah.
hey, come here, as a matter of fact, I gotta find this picture of this Cambodian woman that looked like she's from Southwest Atlanta somewhere. Of course, she got the Asian eyes, but it's just like,
Mhm.
wow, we really are everywhere on this planet. Like, it's not really a country where it's not a populace of Afro people or Black people
Mhm.
or colored people. I don't even know what you want to call
Yeah.
them, you know?
Yeah, man. After the pandemic, especially in Mexico, I've noticed that a lot of Brazilians or Afro Latin Brazilians came over to find work.
Mhm,
Places like Playa del Carmen, Cancun. Uh,
mhm.
oh yeah.
I want to give a shout out to El Professor with a $9.99 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He says, fellas, I'll be in Barcelona, Spain next year for vacation. Any tips, pointers, how are our Black men perceived out there? You been to Spain?
So I've been to Spain, I think it was like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
We went to Greece, and then I went to Germany, and then right after that, I was like, the guy I was flying with, he was like, "I'm going to Romania," and I was like, "You know what? It's not really for me." I ended up going to Malaga, Spain.
Hmm.
It's the southern part of Spain, and as soon as I touched down, people were friendly. I had the time of my life. I stayed for a week.
Hmm.
I could have stayed for a month. Now, to answer his question, I don't know, but based on my experience in Malaga, Spain, you know how it is when you go to a country and you go to the second, third, or fourth largest city. There's less tourists there. People are more impressionable on you because they don't really run into people like you. So it may be a different experience in Barcelona, but I say it's all case by case. It all depends on what you look like, your cadence, how you carry yourself, your outlook, your perspective. So
Would you say that Black American men are in a very unique, Black Americans in general, but Black American men in particular are in a unique situation when it comes to being overseas? Since
yeah,
they,
yeah. I mean, we finally got figureheads, O'Shea, do Jackson. We finally got our voice out there to spin
Mhm,
our own narratives. A lot of YouTube content creators, Black content creators, myself. For the most part, I try to go to a country and like, all right, well, what's the culture like? I got to respect the culture.
mhm.
I know when I first started traveling, I was bringing American entitlement over, and I was just
Okay.
like, why are they not talking English? Like, what? Who am I to say something like that? And that was an ignorant way of looking. As I
Mhm,
matured and start traveling more,
mhm,
she she's incredible. So I changed my frame of mind. I'm like, you know what? It's like going into someone's home. You got to respect their rules, their house rules, how they move. It's a social
mhm.
fabric, and I think more brothers are doing that now, and that's great because it makes us look great. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Okay, I got a super chat here by Mayal. Apologies if I pronounce your name wrong.
okay.
Mayal More Graves.
Oh, I know.
Mayal More Graves. That's your
Mom,
man's?
yeah, yeah. He be on my channel.
Okay.
Salute to him, brother.
Am I pronouncing his name correctly?
I think it's Ma More Graves.
Mog More Graves for the $2 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. She said she ain't. He says she ain't indigenous, but she's incredible. Can you show a picture of her one more time, Dwight?
Oh yeah. Hold on a second.
And you know what? Where can I find? Let me see if I can pull this up. No, that's the wrong.
So you can see like she got thick lips.
Mhm.
She's like really tall. She's 5'10".
Hold on. Let me put you on the big screen real quick.
And she's a professional,
Mhm.
working woman. 9 to 5 professional working woman.
She's nice, and she's in Australia, but she's African living in Australia.
Yep. She's in
Okay.
Melbourne. I don't know where she is now, but
Mhm.
yep. So
Okay.
that's her. And Let's see. Do I have anything else? Yeah, I can't show this other stuff though. But
It's for the Patreon. It's for your Patreon.
so yeah, you're gonna run into there's a big Asian population in Melbourne.
Mhm.
There's a little Africa in Melbourne. Sydney, there's a big beach culture, similar to LA, where you got the outskirts of West Hollywood and Santa Monica, OC.
Mhm.
People are in shape. People love the bikinis, and you get a lot of women that are thick.
Mhm.
Locals are not really checking for them. So when you go there, you're checking for them and they checking for you.
Mhm.
Brisbane is kind of like in the middle. It's kind of like a hybrid. It's very city, but it's also they have man-made beaches where it's like in the middle of nowhere. How did this come about? But uh I haven't been to Perth yet.
Mhm.
Gold Coast is interesting. Gold Coast is like its own thing. It's probably the least favorite, but I had success in all those places. They all have
Mhm.
their own personalities. Um, I would like to go to Perth going back and then frequent the other places again. There's another place up north though. I forgot the name of it. It's
Mhm.
very Amazonish and they have waterfalls and stuff like that. I forgot the name of it. I can't. The thing slip my mind. The Cairns.
I want to show you a little pic I posted in the Passport Bros app of a Cambodian girl, Cambodian woman. You see, you see it?
Yeah. Oh damn, Cambodia is like that. Wow.
Yeah, that's Cambodia. I don't know
That's
if I can
sensual.
zoom in on it. That's
Yeah, nice,
Cambodia. Nice brown,
nice lips.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah, man. She's nice. She's nice. That's Cambodia.
That reminds me of Filipino.
Usually, I don't share too much of that information. Just that's just on the app. I don't really want to do score and mess up Cambodia, man. They don't be knowing about that one. I got
Yeah.
another super chat here by Maul Moregraves with the $10 super chat. Really appreciate that. He says she's like a mix between Laura Harvey and Jessica White.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
There's a lot of girls like that out there in Melbourne and
Mhm.
in Brisbane too. Major
Mhm.
city. They go where the money is, They trying to get that dollar and they get it.
You know what's crazy to me when I see these podcasts and I hear the guys criticizing the Passport Bros. I hear the girls criticizing that. And one of the biggest criticisms is they only want you for your money, right?
Mhm.
And we come in from the most capitalistic dating country in the world. When we know past the high school romance and the college little thing we got going on, we know how treacherous the game is. I mean, you got women on interviews saying, I'm not even looking at a guy that made less than 200 something thousand dollars a year,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So let me ask you this: as far as just in particular Australia, did you get that same capitalistic vibe when you was there? Like, was it all about dating hypergamy, the guys for money, or was it more like, oh, this is guy's American, and or
Mm.
was it more, oh, he's American, like, oh, let me see if I can get a bag from
Australia is a booming economy.
him? Mhm.
I mean, I applied for a job there while I was an architect, and they gave it to me. But I was like, man, I don't want to do this because I came from a very
What's
family.
is their currency exchange good? I mean, they British pounds, so right?
It's different. I think it's like CAD or something like that. No, that's Canada. I forgot, man. It's interesting.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, it's up there though.
Mhm.
You're not gonna. I don't know if our dollar is stronger right now, but I think the
Mhm.
time my dollar was decent. So yeah, going on dates, girls will be, hey, listen, what can I bring to the date? I'll bring some wine. Um, I'll bring a little snack or something. And I'm like, wow, really? So I was thrown off by, they always bring like little, they ask a
Okay, so
lot.
I'm a little actually. Oh, let me show this real quick, Delane. Let me see if I'm looking at this correct. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I'm looking at this correctly.
Okay.
Hold on. Are we? Oh yeah. So it is. Is that correct? 66 cent to one Australian dollar. So
Uh,
are they dollar? Is their dollar more powerful than ours?
Make it put it at one USD.
Okay, hold on.
See what happens. Okay, their dollar is a little stronger, but I'm thinking it is a you
So
see that
we have a dollar to their $1.53.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look at 5 years ago, see that dip?
Mhm.
See something? If you like go to the lowest part of that dip there. Or the 5 years, right? Not the 5 days, 5 years to the
That's
right.
5 years. 58 cents.
Yeah, it was different. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, at the time, I wasn't even thinking about money like that. You know, I was working in corporate architecture, so it was like
So if they're paying you in Australian dollar, you're getting paid more.
I believe so.
Damn.
I believe so.
Australia might be a goal, man. You making money, you making more money. It's the same language.
Mhm.
I mean, Australia might be a goal for the passport bros. I don't know.
I will say this though, you know,
Mhm.
I spoke about a lot of pros. There were some cons. Um,
Mhm.
well, I'll say one because off the head, you have to if you're looking for a long term, you gotta vet her for a while.
Mhm.
It's very liberal out there. So, you know, you gotta make sure you make sure she got all her ducks in a
Oh,
row.
they're saying I put the wrong currency in. Hold on. I might have been doing the Aussie dollar. Hold on. It says Australian dollar though, right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I
Well, I don't know why they're saying that. I put the wrong one in.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I was probably using my card
It's
anyway.
Australian dollar, guys. I don't know what you're looking at. Hold on.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they bugging. What are y'all looking at, chat? He said USD is stronger. You're reading it wrong. Okay,
Oh, really?
that's what they say.
I'm looking at the Australian dollar. I'm getting the same thing.
Okay, all right, all right. Well,
All right.
maybe we wrong.
Yeah, you do got to vet. If you're looking for
Oh,
long,
they're saying the USD is stronger. Everybody's saying the USD is stronger. So maybe we're looking at it the wrong way.
um, short, like if you're doing short term, you're gonna have the time of your life, man. It's a 10 out of 10. I'll take
Mhm.
you go out there's you see some red flags, man. Jump out without a parachute
So
because
you're talking about Australian women.
yeah. If you're looking for long term,
Mhm.
take your time to vet, man. Take your time. It's liberal out there. It's very liberal.
Okay.
There's some pockets of conservative backgrounds, but it's very small. 66 to 1 Aussie dollar. Yep. Mhm.
You say, yeah, that means if the Aussie comes to America, they get more bang for their buck. But if we go as Americans go there, we have to pay more.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying like now I would pay attention, but I wasn't paying attention before.
Okay, Drew G says we're done on that super chat. I really appreciate that, Drew. He says, tell them also how spread out Australia is. It's massive.
Yeah, there's Melbourne is as you like it's like similar to South America. You could be at the bottom of Florianopolis or Cotochibe.
Mhm.
That's like Melbourne, and then when you go to the top, like Recife or Manaus or someplace, you know, that's Sydney. And then if you go west to like Brasilia, that's Perth. And then you go east, that's Bahia, that's Gold Coast. It's
Mhm.
probably different though. I'm just giving you guys comparison. It's big, man. Like you fly into another place, you're gonna spend some hours. But it's similar in culture, different weathers, beach versus city.
Okay.
I love it, man. I love out there. It just got every trip gotten better and better.
Mr. Travolta says Australia is great. Been there for holiday in Sydney, but it's still pretty expensive. Asia and South America are better for a better quality of life. Shout
That's
out to
true.
Mr. Travolta. We got Darren Bowman says USD is stronger than Australia dollar, guys. Like USD is stronger than Canadian dollar. So maybe we misinterpreting the chart that we see.
I think
Oh,
so.
so they're saying your US dollar is worth $1.53. Okay, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
We looking at it backwards a little bit.
I'm trying to host a date night. I have this series called Date Night. Like tonight, I'm gonna have Kings and Dreams on 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
Me, him, four to six Colombian and Brazilian girls, and we're gonna be talking. I'm trying to get Australian girls on there and have some conversations with them, but the time difference is making it difficult.
Mm-hmm.
What I'll do is I'll try to get some conversations going and have that as pre-recorded.
Okay. Okay.
It's like a 14-hour difference right now. So, for example, let's say it's 2 p.m. here. That means it's 4 a.m. there in Australia, I think. Let me see.
Okay. Cool.
6 a.m. because the time changed. I forgot about that.
Okay. Cool. All right, man. Well, Delane, we crossed that little hour. The interview is about an hour long, man. You know, so
All
man, I
good.
appreciate you coming on once again, bro. We got to do this probably weekly, man. We need to do like a little show weekly, like a little podcast or something. You know what I mean?
That
Next
sounds
time
good.
you go.
I'm
And
down.
you're gonna drop that video on the app, right?
Oh yeah,
Passportbros app.
I'll do it.
Okay,
Sure,
I
for
got
sure.
you.
I'll do
I
it.
got you. Okay. Okay, man. Well, once again, appreciate you coming in. Everybody follow No Reservations. What's the name of your channel?
All right,
I know you changed it.
it's called No Reservations. I had problems before. It's hard to find me. But if
Mhm.
you type in No Reservations Rio or No Reservations Brazil, it'll pop up. But to make it easier for you, my Instagram is No Reservations Podcasting, and the main link is my YouTube there, so you can get it from there as well. Yeah, you could
No Reservations Podcast. I got you.
put me in the title too. You could just at me as well.
Got you. Got you. But once again, man, great show, bro. Appreciate you
Yeah,
just coming through. Peace.
peace, bro.
Oh, man, always showing receipts. Peace, man.
All right, peace, bro.